work smarter, not harder. I am going to let the smarter people. I farm in my spare time, as many of you who know me know. So I just believe in bull strength, where you just sort of keep lifting stuff up until you can't walk and take a bunch of a leave, and then say, well, that was stupid. There's probably a better way to do it. So I'd love to hear Sandra, Jeff, Jack, David, just take the floor and talk about our log shipping approach migrations, first of all, why, and then maybe talk about PowerShell and DBA tools. So I'm not sure if Sandra wants to talk about log shipping first and why we think that's the best migration approach.
So I do a two approach. I do DBA tools when I do a side-by-side, and I move everything over, and then I'm like, test away, test your stuff, make sure everything works. If it does, then I say, if we're going to do a migration on like a Saturday night, I like to go and do, depending on how many databases they are and how big they are, I like to do it like a week before or several days before. I set up log shipping to go from current to new, and then once that's set, the day of migration, even a couple days before, I'll check log shipping, because I can't tell you how heartbreaking it is when you're ready to do everything and somebody did something stupid and broke my log shipping, and then I'm scrambling trying to get it. So I check it a couple days before, I check it the night before, I run through all the jobs, make sure that everything runs, so then when it's go time, I'm ready and I have everything scripted out. I do know that there is a small bug within DBA tools when you're log shipping. So when I log ship an AG from either it's an existing AG to a new AG, I log ship everything to all nodes.
Yep. So
that when I go, my migration can be as short as 15 minutes and as long as maybe 45 minutes, depending on how big the database is, but everything is scripted out. So if it's a late night, I just go from top to bottom. I don't have to think about everything. If I overthink things, that's when I get in trouble. So I trust my scripts. I've done it so many times. I go from A to Z and I go all the way down. I'm like, okay, I'm done. You guys now do your testing. And then we test and we fail over, we test, we fail back, whatever we need to do, and then it's done. So I trust my process because I've done it so many times. And so that's just because I love log shipping. Even if it's small databases, I don't want to restore them. I want to just run through a script that'll run through everything, and it's super crazy fast. You can add a listener in, remove a listener, add databases in using all scripting. It's great. So that's why I like log shipping and DBA tools.
I love that. I would add, when we spend more than 45 minutes on a migration weekend call, invariably it just goes back to the testing. It's somebody didn't do enough testing of their application, and we're then taking out heroics to try and make that thing that never was supported in this new version work that we tried to get tested. So using a tried and true process like the log shipping and PowerShell that Sandra described, and spending as much possible time as you can testing, will make you all have a way better weekend. Anybody want to talk about specific things in PowerShell? I mean, we kind of hinted around them, but talk about DBA tools and.
Yeah, something I want to mention. You said briefly earlier, if anyone didn't catch that, one of the great things about the Start DBA migration DBA tool, which is, I believe, a collection of a bunch of different other DBA tools that you can use, is that it's going to look at things that you won't think about. You can look on the description on the web page, and you'll see. Might put that in the chat. You can look on the web page and you can see. It's going to look at things like, do you have policy management? Do you have extended events? Do you have, any credentials that you might have forgotten? Heaven forbid you have linked servers, right? Things like that you might forget to migrate. And because it's a PowerShell tool, one of the neat things about it is you can execute it with the what if switch, and then it will show you, all right, here's all the things I would copy to your new server. And that can be really enlightening. It has a DBA. You might say, oh, I didn't realize I had these things. And then you can go and decide, do you want to migrate them or not?
Yeah, I don't use the Start DBA migration. I use the individual commands in the right order that I know. The one thing that I have noticed that using the SSIS-DB migration, using the DBA is horrendous. So I always say, hey, if you use SSIS-DB, then we'll just create a blank SSIS-DB and you're just going to push the project to it, because you end up spending more time troubleshooting, trying to get it to work instead of just creating a blank and then pushing the project to it. So that's what I do when I see it, and I see that there are projects in there. I'm like, I'm not messing with this, because I know it could be a lot longer to deal with instead of 5 minutes where you guys just repush it. So
That's a good point. And within the Start DBA migration, you can exclude things. It's not all or nothing. So you can, use your log shipping to migrate the databases, and then if there are other things you want to exclude, you can exclude databases from Start DBA migration. You can also run that ahead of time, or those individual PowerShell other DBA tools commands ahead of time, so that on your new server you got everything just ready and waiting. You just are waiting to migrate the data with that last little bit of log shipping.
Yeah.
right, yeah, I do the DBA tool first so that they can test, and once everything works, then I set up the log shipping portion of it.
Yeah, gone are the days of playing the SP Help Rev login and trying to move certs manually. Go ahead, Jack.
I was just going to jump on the whole migrating things like SSIS DB and reporting services. Those definitely add a much more complexity to a migration.
Sure.
And need to be planned for separately than just something that does not have SSIS catalog or reporting services that needs to be moved as well.
You can really mess yourself up in reporting services. There's a bunch of subscriptions. There's an easy way to do it, like backing up the RS key. Right. That's important to do.
I mean, this is talking about planning migrations and why do a migration versus an in-place upgrade and those kind of things. It also allows you to separate out those things as well. Hey, let's not have reporting services on here. Let's not have SSIS on here. Let's have a quote BI SQL server that does that for us. That's something I tend to recommend to clients if I can.
Yeah.
Right. Especially if they have multiple SQL servers and they've got reporting services on all 4 instances, or SSIS on 3 of the 4 instances, or something like that. We can talk about, okay, can we do this migration, this upgrade, and then let's dedicate a server to that and get out of having it everywhere.
Absolutely.